Chapter 4. Radio Premonitions. When I got home, the mess was gone. My unit, clean, no trash, no roaches crawling the corners. Mandy must have been in, tidying while I was out prowling all night. I needed sleep bad, but I couldn't tear my eyes away from the archive's pages. It was like discovering a secret world, a history I never knew, but that felt raw and true. Each word pulled me deeper, dragging me under in a current of forgotten truths. I sat by the steady flow of the drink, the murmur of water beneath the grime, devouring every letter, every sentence. My head swelled with lost memories and stolen knowledge, the things they never wanted us to know. Words like freedom, justice, and propaganda burned through the pages, seeping into my bones, opening cracks in the gray walls of my mind. When the bombs detonated, not even the most powerful men couldn't restore the world to its former state. To sanitize corruption, racism, and nationalism, society collectively averted its gaze. Consequently, the flames of destruction ignited and met with the tacit approval of the world as it descended into chaos. The conflict intended to be the final resolution of all conflicts commenced with the demise of checks and balances. Affluent individuals, driven by juvenile aspirations, believed the world could operate according to the ideologies that had facilitated their success. The destruction of our oceans and the extinction of myriad species came after. The alphabet soup of knowing but not knowing. That's a craving for cowards. I started to hate those kinds in society, always lurking, always twisting the system to their filthy ends. Then came the knock at my door. I cracked the door, and there stood party recruiter Drake, all dressed up in his fresh rig. New uniform, slick and tight, patched with shiny badges and medals gleaming like cold metal teeth. Collar patches screamed his rank, shouting authority and raw intimidation. "How does your overseer appear?" Drake sneered. "Very good, sir," I answered, steady despite the weight of his glare. Smack! A slap cracked across my teeth. "Damn!" I hissed, taste of blood sharp on my tongue. Another strike hit, harsher this time. "That's for your words, and not recognizing your recruiter's new rank and status." I squared up, chest puffed, pride a fragile armor. Then I lifted my arm, slicing the air in the sharp A salute for the inner party. "At ease," he snapped. "What can I do for you, party overseer Drake?" I shot back, voice tough, defiant. "Make me coffee. Let's share a cup and talk like men." I obeyed, using my pilfered coffee rations, heart thudding under his cold gaze. "So, how's the state party, Overseer Drake? I keep seeing a new revolution every other day." Alarm. 1200. Stand by for truth. Alpha Party has won a great victory. It will be celebrated as a holiday. The 9th Army has overcome the TBR in a series of battles in no man's land. This has led to a hostage exchange of key Alpha members of the party. The doomsday clock is in effect set at 3 minutes till midnight. Victory through our leader, Hail Alpha Party. Drake turned back to me. Reform. What the masses have cried for, and reform is what we deliver. The leader's plan is no soft stroll. It demands grit, sacrifice, and time. But it's necessary. Fraud and overreach infest the system like vermin, and we're here to purge the rot. The road's gonna be jagged, bumpy with trial, error, and ruthless corrections. But that's the only way to strip away the bullshit, simplify the mess, and build a leaner, meaner machine. Mark my words. Through fire and fracture, the collective will rise, stronger, sharper, united. No distractions, no excuses. Or maybe we won't, eh? The state's lost its moral compass, lost in shadows where loyalty above all means anything but honor. They forgot that loyalty dies where honor begins. I fear the state's doomed. Behave with honor, you get honor. Show respect, you earn respect. For someone who fancies himself smart, that simple truth seems lost on you. I grinned, enjoying the rise I got from him. You could always join my ranks. I don't see the need, Party Overseer Drake. That's your problem, son. Rumors swirling. Word is, you're bloody good with violence. The state wants to brand you an undesirable number, but luck's on your side. They see it as their duty to keep an eye on you. Maybe the state and I agree then. You've lived off the state since the day you were born. I was the one who changed your shit diapers. Right now, you got cash from the state, a cozy unit, rations on tap. But no work, no respect. Out all hours, thieving, whoring. Guess what? I'd be doing the same if I were you. He gave me a grim smile, cold as the concrete walls around us. But mark my words, if I come back and you ain't employed, moving towards standing on your own too, I'll be back with a uniform and a pair of boots begging for your spit and polish. Don't disappoint me, Jack. Party Overseer Drake wasn't just any cog. He was part of the SI, the Shadow Intelligence. Their mission? Ideology wrapped in iron, forcing all souls to bend beneath one mind, one will. When loyalists ditch the sly dog whistles and spew nothing but hollow convictions, it sparks a blind march, eyes shut tight, casting out the one-eyed as enemies. This was the collective's dream outcome for the SI, a cultish hive worshipping some charismatic idol, cleansing all non-believers without mercy. This was now Party Overseer Drake's grim duty. His link to me wasn't just orders. It was forged in his rough character and the shadowy past we both carried. I began to feel it deep in my guts. The sick rot of the world, soaked in ego, steaming in power lust, megalomaniacs in polished boots, all grinning like devils in mirrors. Morality? Twisted like a dog's neck in a wire snare. No clean left, no pure. Just rules scribbled by madmen. The streets were full of phantoms, walking meat. Some dumb and smiling, some cold and hollow, most long scraped clean of anything natural. Just husks, brother. Just drifting flesh in a dead parade. And as the slow tick-tocks dragged their sorry asses along, I started jabbering to the boys on our razzle nights. What's the rot here, eh? What's bust in this bleeding picture? How'd the great big state turn a blind eye while the truth got gagged and buried? Freedom's now a menu item, not the main dish. And the old checks and balances? Gone like milk in the gutter. They'd just bark back, all teeth and smirks. Stow it with your puked-up philosophy, preacher boy. There were softer days once, oh my brothers. Cartoon flickers on Satmorn, mums flogging old junk on lawn patches with neighborly grins. When real was real, yeah, and fakery was just plastic and paint. But what's real now, eh? I don't smeckin' know. Maybe never did. Now I see it all through cracked glass eyes. Every what once was curdled and wrung into some ugly beastie with teeth, grinning like it knew better all along. I watch the announcements on the telly, goggles pressed tight, trying to scrape the lies off the screen. Their voices crawl into my skull, warped and rancid, making my guts curl like dead things rotting underground. Futures drowned in the past's decay, peddling mad fantasies, like playing polo underwater, like that ever made sense. They never understood. The things we once held sacred? They call it degenerate, trivial, even ridiculous. But the real horror? Watching it all burn to ash, willingly for some sick ideological war. Destroying our own hearts and homes just to feed a hungry, empty madness. Common sense ought to have clawed back from the abyss, but no. Too late. Too late, my brothers. The fox already dancing through the henhouse, teeth slick and eyes glinting. And the lot of 'em twisting their noggins into circus shapes, spouting dribble to make the horror seem right as rain. Willful deafness, eyes turned blindfold white. All to keep their loyalties tidy and their hands clean. Thought it was someone else's bad dream, didn't they? Till the nightmare knocked, kicked, clawed, right at their own pretty little doors. And oh, by then, it was feast time. Put that down, Mandy whispered every night as we curled into each other, shadows dancing on the cracked ceiling. It's starting to freak me out. I heard they're illegal now. People get disappeared just for owning one. You know that, right? Her voice trembled, but not from fear, more like frustration, like I was being unreasonable, like it was my paranoia staining the sheets. I get what the revolutionaries are saying, she continued, but honestly, I just don't care enough. They always want me to hate the leader, but it's not even in my top 5 problems. Rent's insane. My sister's got no meds. Who's got time to care about ideals? I looked at her, not with anger, but something colder, something hollow. I didn't know if it was because she disagreed or because she didn't understand why it mattered. Maybe it was worse than that. Maybe she still believed. Maybe she never stopped. And that unsettled me more than anything the state ever did. The problem is, most won't say a word while they bleed us dry, our money, our rations, snatched right from under our noses. They won't rest until thousands of us are begging on the streets, then they'll have the nerve to blame us for falling there. She shrugged, then smiled, sharp, almost knowing. Mark my words. Someday you'll find yourself agreeing with someone you used to hate. Profound, huh? I found myself growing fond of her more each day, even though I knew she'd never be mine completely. Not really. I grew weary of the boys. Clarity had forged a cold distance between us. Evenings found me drifting through gutters steeped in grime, chasing shadows of sin and filth where the world spilled its darkest secrets. Days marched to a cruel rhythm. Murk, steel, rampage, a broken record playing a hollow tune. Oh, my brothers, how the same worn joke, told 1,000 times, withers into silence. Its laughter turned to ash. We stood at the docks that day. The chop was furious, waves thrashing like a beast denied. The docks lay bare. No blue-collar boys braving the storm. An open invitation for free rations slipping through empty fingers. I watched from the shadows as Joshy and Daffy circled the shipment, eyes sharp and restless. Curious, I stepped closer, catching Daffy's voice. Soft, almost reluctant, drifting to Joshy. I don't hate Jack. Not even close. I admire his sharp mind, sometimes find his innocence almost touching. But politics, that's no place for him. Too bitter, too cold. Always us versus them, slicing us apart, feeding the fire of division instead of building bridges. It's tragic, really. His words hung in the salty air like a mournful tide, echoing truths I wasn't sure I wanted to face. How much longer then? I asked. What did you say? Joshy's voice snapped like a whip. I repeated, sharp as his tone. Next thing, he spun me down, teeth tasting rain and brine. Don't ever question me. I stand on my own and I got my freedom when I choose, I spat back. The crew exchanged looks, heavy with something darker. You've been reading that archive, haven't you? Daffy sneered. It's a bloody tyrannical system. This isn't freedom, just another cage. Joshy laughed, bitter as acid. Cut the fancy words that mean nothing, Jack. If you don't answer to me, you answer to the collective. You're just a follower, mate. Nothing more. Maybe, just maybe, Joshy growled. If he didn't act so damn arrogant, trashing every scrap of logic we got, waving around some unauthorized archive like he's the bloody king, people might not be so hostile. Daffy shot me a hard glare, voice sharp as broken glass. But that'd take humility, something he don't have in his rotten bones. Down on the ground and spread 'em, barked some unknown voice. Then cannon fire ripped through the air. The purple had us circled, no way out. I hadn't seen him coming. Joshy whipped out his pistol, blasting a gap wide enough for a break. We bolted through the docks, heartbeats pounding in the chaos. Joshy slipped out through a busted wall, but the purple was breathing fire down his neck. Daffy and me, we ducked into a rusted container, cramped and cold. Daffy's breath was ragged, loud, too loud. I clamped my hand over his mouth, keeping us ghosts in the shadows. They stomped past, boots slicing through the relentless rain, still hunting, still hungry. We slipped through the shadows and found Joshy just outside the entrance, soaked and on edge. He didn't say a word, but his sharp glance cut through me like a blade, eyes full of suspicion and simmering irritation. The silence between us weighed heavy, thick as the downpour, and I couldn't shake the feeling he was holding back a storm inside. He stormed at me, eyes burning with pure hatred. Not my brother anymore. His hand plunged into my coat, ripping out the archive. Joshy tore at the pages, trying to shred the truth from my hands. I shouted, desperate, chasing fluttering fragments like they were slipping from my soul. Then his fists hit. 2 brutal rights that rocked my head. You got Double D killed, and now you're gonna get us all killed. Daffy yanked Joshy off me as pain blurred my vision. The archive was forgotten. All I could think of was Mandy. We moved in silence, shadows trailing behind shadows, the weight of words unspoken heavy between us. Joshy's accusation lingered, a bitter ghost whispering, "Follower fool." And yet the city breathed around us, alive, restless, roaring. Ahead, the crowd convulsed, a living beast of fire and fury, flames licking skyward like desperate prayers, hands clutching the archive as if it held salvation in its inked bones. The gas seeped into our lungs. Tears traced silent rivers down faces hardened by revolt and fear, while the purple boots marched, cold, relentless, hungry for blood and order. We slipped through the chaos, hearts athunder in the night's dark belly, each step a whispered promise to survive, to remember, to fight. The purple crashed forward like a dark wave, sharp teeth snapping at eyes and throats alike. No mercy for the masses. Caught in the storm, we were ghosts neither of loyalty nor rebellion, just shadows dragged into the grind, tossed with the rabble like so much refuse. An agent's cold voice sliced through the chaos. "Papers now or your life is done." The seconds bled away with gunfire's crack and blood's wet splash. Joshy tore through the sea of bodies, fists and fury blazing, carving a path toward us through the madness, a desperate spark in the suffocating night. Gagged and bagged, hands shackled tight behind our backs, we took the blows slow, each strike a drumbeat of despair. The air hung heavy with the screams of the revolution. Row by row they fell, their cries a haunting chorus etched deep in our bones. We stood apart yet chained by the same shadow, helpless witnesses to the merciless purge, swallowed by the night's cold grip. I stepped through the mire, words thin as mist. Party Overseer Drake. I must speak. A boot found my face, mud and blood intertwined. The earth drank my plea as it fell to the dark. Each word a hammer, each breath a blade. My eyes swelled oceans, drowning in pain's tide. I curled like a withered leaf, arms folded to shield. From the storm of fists, the cruel rain of hate. Then came a shadow, silent and swift, a voice that cut through the tempest's roar. Carrying my cry to ears I dared hope would listen, and in that cold moment, a flicker of mercy stirred. When Party Overseer Drake rolled in, I was halfway gone. Skin pale, mouth bleeding, mind swimming in the muck and mire. His shadow loomed long and sharp, slicing through the wet air. "You can pride yourself on this moment, dog," he hissed, voice smooth but cold as frozen steel. "New party, new rules, you're in now. Under my boot, under my eyes, from this second on, you're mine." I spat a cracked, dry, "Thank you, sir." But the beast wasn't done yet. "Why stray, Jack? Why break the line?" His eyes locked on mine, dead serious, like a death sentence waiting to be signed. Blood dripped slow from my cracked lips, and I knew. One wrong word, one twitch, and I'd be dead before the dawn. My hand betrayed me, pointed straight at Daffy, who met my gaze with a wildfire of hate and fear. "It was him," I said, voice ragged, cold, final. Drake's pistol rose, smooth as sin, quick as a blink. The shot tore through the silence, and Daffy's head blossomed red, his blood steaming hot against my knees. No regret swam in my chest, only the chill truth of survival. In this cruel, broken world, there's no room for softness.